What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Papa West, Jacob West, here to do something I love, and that is talk about sports. That's right, it is TMG Takes the Field, episode 4, I believe, and I have a good one in store today. First off, I need to clarify something. Last week, our big talk was about the lovely world of soccer. I messed up seriously. Um, if you watched the very end of last episode, I talked about how MLS and La Liga set up a tournament that would have every MLS team and every La Liga team play each other. I'm an idiot. I completely misread that. MLS is continually doing a tournament, however, it is not with La Liga. It is with Liga MX or MX, as whatever you want to call it. They go by both. I know that for a fact. Which is the Mexican professional soccer league, Liga MX. They have always done a tournament. Fun fact. It's the Leagues Cup, is what it's called, and they generally have, I believe it's 8 teams from both leagues in it. That is what's actually happening. Liga MX and MLS are expanding their tournament. So now it'll be every team in MLS taking on every team in Liga MX. It will be next year because the Leagues Cup just ended last week, actually. I want to say it was during the show. Seattle Sounders they lost. They lost to Lyon in the finals. So next year, when that's happening, I'll be smarter about it and actually know what's going on. But we'll be sure to follow that because I love tournaments. It's why I'm doing a singles tournament here pretty soon. And it's going to be just like the World Cup. That part is true. Except you're not going to see Barcelona and Real Madrid kicking the crap out of the Colorado Rapids or the New England Revolution. It'd be fun to watch. It's not happening yet. No, Liga MX and MLS. They are expanding the Leagues Cup, and they're going to have every single team. So exciting, yes. I just wish I could have gotten it right the first time. My boss, he's a big soccer fan, and when I was telling him about that, he got a big kick out of it. So yes, Papa West is not right 100% of the time. I do get some stuff incorrect, even when I am seeing a message and relaying it to everybody. It happens. I am sorry. I will do my best next time. Now, let's get in the real show. And of course, we're going to start off with everyone's favorite breaking news. And really, I kind of had a thought about this. This will be kind of like big NFL stuff, since I'm going to go over not every sport, but major sports afterwards. I'm going to kind of keep breaking news more NFL stuff that's not covered on Inside the Horseshoe, more like signings, injuries, stuff like that. And it'll change every now and again, too. So biggest things, there are a couple signings that have happened recently in the wonderful world of the NFL. Richard Sherman, of course, everybody knows, one of the cornerbacks for the Seattle Seahawks when they had their Legion of Boom. I especially remember back when Colin Kaepernick was a decent quarterback. Throws it to Michael Crabtree. Richard Sherman's right there, swats it down, and then another Seattle Seahawk was right there to get the interception when they played each other in the NFC Championship game back in 2012, I believe. Couple other big moments because they won the Super Bowl that year. Very next year, they went on to the Super Bowl, lost to a horrible team we will not talk about. But whenever they scored their 24th point, he is looking at the camera. 24. Great cornerback. He's been one of the better cornerbacks in the NFL. However, when he left the Seahawks, um, he went on to the 49ers. Didn't have as good of a career with the 49ers. Still had some decent numbers, but really kind of fell once he left the Legion of Boom. He did hit the news breaking and entering in New York, I believe. Kind of hit rock bottom. He has officially signed a 1-year deal, I believe, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay has been having some issues defending the pass. Their secondary hasn't been great, and they did have an injury recently, I believe. So this is a very good sign for them. Another big signing, another gentleman who has not been in the NFL. This is because the NFL is weird and likes to suspend people for smoking marijuana and weed and other recreational drugs. I'm not judging anyone. Josh Norman, of course, gentleman who has not been able to play much because he's been dealing with suspensions. I believe he was drafted by the Cleveland Browns, played a couple games with them. I know he signed with the Seattle Seahawks at one point, and just couldn't get anything done because he was facing those suspensions with the NFL for illegal substances. He has been reinstated, and he has signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs, of course, 1-2 right now, last place in the AFC West. No one expected that. Granted, it's only been 3 weeks, and they've had a really tough schedule. Um, so he is reinstated. He has signed with them. They did have that big loss when they got rid of when Sammy Watkins did not re-sign with the team. He's been doing pretty decently with Baltimore at the moment. Um, yeah, so hopefully that should be a um, good sign there. They can spark some offense that they have been having issues with. Also, hopefully he can stay in the league. Hopefully the league isn't silly with their um, weed rules like they have been. And then another big thing I do want to talk about, James White, running back for the Patriots, had a hip injury this past Sunday. He is out for the remainder of the season. So when the Patriots traded Sony Michel to the Rams, doesn't sound like it was that good of a trade now because they kind of need him. Their running back room definitely took a huge hit with that. And they have a big opponent coming up Sunday night. So bad injury for them. Another thing I want to talk about, Carolina Panthers not disclosing how long Christian McCaffrey will be out for with his, I believe it's a hamstring injury, but they have officially announced Chuba Hubbard will be starting for them for the next couple weeks. Chuba Hubbard went to Oklahoma State, had a very decent career with them. I was a little higher on him than most people were in the draft because I have seen him play quite a bit. But granted, Big 12 doesn't have a defense. So he was able to run against a lot of teams because they don't really stop the run or the pass. But, hey, that's just been breaking news. Again, we do like to start the show off with this. Now we'll move on to other sports that are not the NFL because we talk about the NFL on Inside the Horseshoe Podcast. A great YouTube channel. You should check us out. I'm there occasionally. Matt Beer does a great job with that channel. But for other NFL news and NFL predictions that they did later today, go check them out. I'm going to go ahead and do something a little weird today. We're going to skip a sport. We're going to go directly into the MLB, Major League Baseball. October 3rd is when the season ends. Next Sunday. So we do have a little bit more room. So it looks like next Monday is when I'll do a special show, which works great because I'm off Monday, so I can do one in the middle of the day before they play the games because I think they go directly into that wild card game. Biggest things because we are in a playoff race. Several more teams have been eliminated from playoff contention. As far as the American League East, it stays the same. Baltimore was eliminated last week. No other teams have been eliminated, but the Tampa Bay Rays have clinched the division. So definitely have they will definitely have the 1, 2, or 3 seed. They will not play in the wild card. It's looking like they will be the number 1 seed and play the wild card team because they currently have 97 wins. Houston is directly behind them with 92, so they do have that 5-game lead. Um, Again, we do have not a lot more games. I believe it's 6, 5 or 6. So really, one win and Houston lose, they have that in the bag because Chicago's not going to be able to make any ground up there as they're 7 games behind. So the AL East, there is no change from last week. All that is the same. And as far as the standings, too, that's all stayed the same. New York, Boston, and Toronto. Or New York is in the lead, then Boston, then Toronto as far as second in that division, and then also the wild card, or at least in that division standpoint. Moving on to the AL Central, we do have some changes there. Chicago White Sox, Cleveland Guardians, I believe, and then the Detroit Tigers, I believe, are still in it, or I think they were out. Yeah, they were out. It was just the Guardians who had a chance. The Chicago White Sox have won the division. They did clinch earlier last week. I believe it was Thursday or Friday by beating Cleveland, and then they had a doubleheader. So after they clinched the division, they got to play Cleveland one more time. Um, Cleveland, Detroit, Kansas City, and Minnesota are all out of playoff contention. Um, the Cleveland being the only team that would have had a chance, cannot win the wild card. And then the AL West. The Angels have been eliminated from playoff contention. The only change there, but we still have a tight race to win that division and possibly a wild card spot. Houston, Seattle, and Oakland are all still in it. Doing basic math in my head real quick. I don't have to. They have it right there. Houston has a 4.5-game lead over Seattle. Oakland 7.5. So Oakland's not going to be able to win the division, but they are still fighting for that second wild card, which I believe I said I was going to predict Oakland to win the division. So I was wrong there, and I have horrible hiccups. The National League, this is where we see quite a bit of changes. Going with the East, the New York Mets have been eliminated in the past week. Now it is the Atlanta Braves and the Philadelphia Phillies. Braves currently have a 3.5-game lead over the Phillies. And they're actually playing each other. I believe they have 2 games left. And we'll go in depth kind of on each team in these races, kind of see where I think those will lead up. So yeah, Atlanta and Philly are still battling for the division. Also, fun fact: both wildcard spots have been clinched in the National League. So the Braves or the Phillies, only one team can make it. Whoever loses the division will not be able to qualify for the wild card, as both have been secured. The Central, a little bit has changed there. Milwaukee has won the division, which they had a very good lead last week. It was very small chance that they were going to lose it. They did not lose it. They officially clinched the division, and then the the St. Louis Cardinals have clinched the second wild card spot. They will play the second place finisher in the AL West, or in the NL West, to play the winner of the NL West, which is another. I thought the Cincinnati Reds would be able to pull it out. They did not. 6 games back behind the Cardinals. Cardinals did have a nice push. So, hey, you're wrong sometimes. But again, we'll do We'll do actual playoff predictions whenever the actual playoffs happen. And then go into the West. No one has won the division yet. San Fran and the Dodgers are still neck and neck right now. San Francisco 103 to 54. The Dodgers 101 to 56. So they do have that. The Giants have that 2-game lead. However, last week everyone was still in it except for the Diamondbacks. The Padres and Rockies have been eliminated from playoff contention. So we have our playoff picture almost full in the National League. The American League is where it gets a little tricky. Of course, the National League, if the season were to end today, which it's not going to, we would have the Giants with the number 1 seed taking on the winner of the wild card game. Milwaukee would be taking on Atlanta, and then St. Louis and the Dodgers would play each other in a 1-game playoff. Winner goes to take on the Giants. Of course, it doesn't end today, but it is pretty set. Milwaukee will either play Atlanta or Philadelphia. St. Louis will play either San Francisco or Los Angeles, which whoever St. Louis doesn't play, the winner of that game will play. The American League is a little bit different. We still don't have that down. It is looking like the Tampa Bay Rays are going to be the number 1 seed, so they will more than likely take on the wild card. Chicago, we don't know who they're going to play, whether it's Seattle or Houston. We know it's between the two of them because there's only 5 games left. And then, of course, the wild card spot, which right now New York has the number 1. They are 2 games ahead of Boston. Boston sitting at the number 2. But Seattle is half a game, Toronto is 1 game, and then Oakland is 3.5. So it is still pretty close. And of course, 5 games left. We are going to see several or 2 series for each team with huge stakes. So right now, actually going on right now, the Yankees are playing the Blue Jays. Blue Jays are in the lead 6-5. The 8th inning just ended. Looks like it is in Toronto, or not in Toronto, because I don't think they're playing in Toronto at the moment due to the virus. But Blue Jays are at home, so Yankees have to score in the next half inning to have it move on. The Yankees and Blue Jays, let me see, play each other tonight and tomorrow, and then they'll have a 3-game series against the Rays. So it's very important that they win this game that they're playing right now and the next game, because they will end the series, or they'll end the season with a really tough series playing the Rays. As far as the Blue Jays, of course, they are playing the Yankees. They have 2 games against the Yankees. Their last 3 games will be against the Orioles. So they're going to have a very easy end of schedule right there. Next, I do want to move on to the Boston Red Sox, because right now they do have that second wild card. Right now they have it. We'll see later on if they still have it. Right now they are playing the Orioles. They are up 5-0, top of the 9th inning. It looks like it is in Baltimore, so we'll still have a full inning left. But it is looking like the Red Sox will win that game. And of course, they do play the Orioles tomorrow. In October, they are ending their season playing the Nationals, another team that is not in playoff contention. So if you ask me, Boston has a very good chance of winning the next 5 games, and having a half game, I believe it is. They have a half game lead, and then 2 games behind New York. I really think that they can win out, especially because they know they pretty much have to win out. I do think they will be the number 1 wild card team, which means we're going to be playing in Fenway, whoever that is. As far as the West goes, we still don't have a winner of that. We have Houston and Seattle still are fighting for that division. Right now, Houston is, and let me see real quick. It's a 4.5 game lead that Houston has. So Houston has to lose every single game that they play. Seattle would have to win every single game that they play, which right now Houston is playing right at this moment. Another reason to check TMG Takes the Field. We give you live updates of games that are happening right now. Don't have a cool little ticker like ESPN, but you don't get that in most places. Right now, Tampa Bay is winning 6-0, and we're in the middle of the 6th inning. So the Houston has 4 more innings, 3.5, 4 to get some offense going to win that. And then of course they do play the Rays one more time tomorrow, and then they will end the series, or they will end the season. I don't know why I keep forgetting that. It was a 3-game series against the Athletics. So that will be very fun to play. Houston will be playing for the division. Houston will be, or Oakland will be playing to make the playoffs. So that will be a good series to watch. And then as far as Seattle goes, we find out because they played today, I believe. No, they are actually playing later today. Game starts at 8:10. They are going to also be playing the Athletics. And they actually have an interesting schedule because they only have 4 games left. They have 1 game against the Athletics, and then they have a 3-game series against the Angels. So again, they have to win out to have a chance at the division. And they do have a relatively easy. That Oakland game is going to be tough, again, because Oakland is playing to win or to get into the wild card, and they really have to win out too. So that'll be an interesting game to watch. As far as the Angels, might see something crazy because the Angels aren't in it, and they'll be like, hey, the Mariners are a rival. Let's keep them out of the playoffs. Something that the Mariners haven't done in forever. Let's just really rain on their parade. And then, of course, the Athletics, 4 more games left. They have Seattle and Houston. So yeah, I do kind of think this is going to be an AL East wild card. I do think Boston is going to win, and then Toronto really does have a pretty easy road for that second one, and it's only a 3-game lead that New York has over Toronto, so it's pretty easy room to make up, especially because they're playing each other, and if they score still holds as it is, which right now looks like there's a man on second with 1 out for the Yankees. Of course, they don't have names on their back, so I can't tell you exactly who it is. Also, I'm looking at a screen that's that big, so I'm not actually watching it. It is looking like the Blue Jays will have that win, which will then just mean it's a 2-game lead, where they have 1 more game against the Yankees and then going to the Orioles. So I think it's going to be the Red Sox taking on the Blue Jays at Fenway. And then as far as the National League goes, I clicked the wrong button because of course I did. There we go. So we have the Central is locked up. Well, we do have the East, Atlanta and Philadelphia. Right now, Atlanta has a 3.5-game lead over Philadelphia. So really, Atlanta has to lose every game. Philadelphia will have to win out to make the playoffs. Which right now, another interesting situation that we have, the Phillies and the Braves are playing each other. Right now, the Braves are winning 7-2, bottom of the 10th, bottom of the 7th with 2 outs. So Philadelphia has 2 more innings to get 5 runs just to tie. So that's looking like the Braves are going to win this game, which again they play tomorrow. So we'll probably have that division um, actually hammered down here pretty soon. After that, the Braves will play the Mets. They'll have a 3-game series against New York in Atlanta. So if they're not able to lock up the division, they will not have an easy opponent, but definitely be favored because not the greatest of opponent. They'll probably just have to win 1 game to clinch, and it's at home. It's always easy to win at home. As far as the Phillies go, again they have 2 more games left with the Braves, the one that's going on right now, and then the one tomorrow. And then they will be taking on the Marlins for 3 games in Miami. Should be 3 games that they should be able to win those games. It's in Miami, so there will be that little bit of travel for the first game. Um, but again, they really need to win tonight, which it's not looking like they're going to. And then as far as the NL West, we have San Francisco and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Right now, San Francisco has just started their game. They have a 2-game series, or not a 2-game series. They have 2 more games left against the Diamondbacks. Game just started. We are in the bottom of the first with 2 outs. The score is 0-0. But yesterday they did beat the Diamondbacks 6-4. And then they have a 3-game stretch against the Padres, who in the last week have been eliminated from playoff contention. So the Padres might have that little bit of, hey, we can help them not win the division. So they'll be playing hard there. But San Francisco, 2 easy games, and then a kind of tough series. As far as the Dodgers, they have a 2-game series against the Padres. Game starts at 8 o'clock tonight. That is 8 o'clock my time, by the way, which is right now. So should be going up at any time for that game to start. But then they'll also play the Padres tomorrow, and then they will have a 3-game series against the Brewers. So kind of tough way to um, end that series. Who knows? The Brewers might rest a lot of their players just to get them ready for the playoffs. I know it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Whether it actually helps out because they'd be sitting out for so long, they might start getting tight. So you might see them play a little bit, but not much, just because Milwaukee has the number 2 seed locked up. They will not change any positioning there. So as far as who I have winning the East, I do think that the Braves will hold it. I think they will win tonight and win tomorrow, which really will give them a 5.5-game lead over the Phillies. It's going to be really tough to come back from. I don't think the Phillies. It's going to be impossible for the Phillies to come back from. Let's not lie. Phillies really are needing to win out. I don't think they're going to be able to. And then as far as who I have winning the West, I think the Giants will still hold on and win the West. Dodgers, a little bit tougher of a schedule, especially taking on the Brewers. And then San Francisco has a 2-game lead. So that'll be pretty tough. But it's baseball. Anything can happen. Again, it looks like on Monday I will do a show. I'm not going to nail anything down just because I don't really know exactly what time or if any games need to be replayed due to being postponed with weather. Or even if there's a tie, you got to tie somehow. Breaking news: Toronto did beat New York 6-5. So Toronto getting that step up. And what does that do? I wonder if I don't know if my ESPN's fully. Yeah, it's not fully updated. Um, so I will drop the Yankees just a little bit. They still have that the number one seed as far as the wild card race goes, but Toronto definitely took a big step forward with that. So we'll see how that shapes up in the next couple of days. Then we're going to talk about NCAA football. Just a couple games want to go over. Of course, we're going to go over the top 25, and then I do have some games I do want to touch up on after that because we have had a lot of conference games play. So Friday night, we had number 22 Fresno State. They beat UNLV 38-30. Going on to the Saturday games now. That was the only non-ranked, or that was the only ranked game that happened over the weekend. Georgia beat Vanderbilt 62-0. Penn State beat Villanova 38-17. In our first, or actually I'll skip that for now. Coastal Carolina beat UMass 53-3. Iowa beat Colorado State 24-14. First upset, number 14 Iowa State loses to Baylor 31-29. Second upset, uh, number 9 Clemson loses to North Carolina State in a big ACC matchup, 27-21. Number 19 Michigan beat Rutgers 20-13. 23 Auburn beat Georgia State 34-24. They came back from a huge deficit and also benched their starting quarterback, I believe, Bo Nix, which I have a friend who's a big Auburn fan, and he's been saying that for 3 years to bench Bo Nix. So we'll see next week. Number 24 UCLA beat Stanford 35-24. Number 11 Florida beat Tennessee 38-14. Number 20, Michigan beat Nebraska 23-20. Another big upset, Oklahoma State beat number 25, Kansas State 31-20. Alabama beat Southern Miss 63-14. Oklahoma barely surviving West Virginia 16-13. Number 10, Ohio State beat Akron. Akron? The Zips 59-7. Another upset. Georgia Tech beat number 21 North Carolina 45-22. BYU number 15 beat South Florida 35-27. Oregon without Kayvon Thibodeau, which they haven't had since week 1, and they've been doing great. Beat Arizona 41-19. A couple ranked versus ranked opponents that I want to talk about. Notre Dame beat Wisconsin, the number 12 over the number 18 in the Shamrock Classic, I think is what it was called, 41-13. And then I was wrong again, or I'm probably going to be wrong, because the number 7 Texas A&M lost to the number 16 Arkansas, 20-10. So it's looking like Texas A&M probably will not be the 4 seed come the college football playoff. It could still happen. Whenever you lose, it's best to lose at the beginning of the season, so you have all that time just to build momentum and look hot, according to the playoff committee. So we're still not out of the bag. That's definitely not a huge loss yet. Something still could happen. Of course, they do also have Alabama coming up, so that'll always be fun to watch. A couple other games that I just want to talk about. Just some big conference games that'll shape up in the ACC. Where did it go? Yeah, Louisville beat Florida State. So Florida State, I thought they would be great, but especially with Milton, the Central Florida quarterback, coming back from that horrific injury when he played with UCF. They still have not managed to get a win Then Miami got their first win. Granted, it's against Central Connecticut, but they won 69-0. So that's always good to get that win on your record for you. Several Big 12 games, two that I want to talk about. Texas beat Texas Tech, the only, or not the only, but Big 12 versus Big 12. Texas winning 70-35. So Texas showing that loss to Arkansas. Arkansas is a good team. So we're a pretty good team too, and especially when they're going into the SEC here in a couple of years. One more that I want to talk about in the Big 12. TCU took on SMU, Southern Methodist University, in the battle for the Iron Skillet. SMU, unfortunately, was able to hold on to the win 42-34. Because if y'all know me, y'all know I'm a TCU fan. Watching them lose, not fun. As far as the Big Ten goes, it looks like Purdue took on Illinois, the only Big Ten versus Big Ten game. Purdue winning that 13-9. In the SEC, LSU beat Mississippi State 28-25. Kentucky beat South Carolina 16-10. And then we've talked about all the other SEC games. There's the Pac-12. Pac-12, last one I want to talk about. Utah beat Washington State 24-13. Washington beat California 31-24. Then Oregon State beat USC 45-27. Arizona State beat Colorado 35-13. So a lot more Pac-12 matchups. In fact, every Pac-12 team that played last week played a Pac-12 school. As far as the rankings go, just a quick breakdown. Top three did not change. It was still Alabama, Georgia, and then Oregon. The biggest change of the three, one person who voted for Alabama last week to be the number one seed changed their vote to Georgia. Alabama with 58 first place votes, Georgia with 4, one more than last week. Penn State did bump up 2 spots. They are now number 4. Iowa has stayed put. They are at number 5. Oklahoma dropped 2. They are at number 6. And then we have Cincinnati at 7, Arkansas at 8, Notre Dame at 9, Florida at 10, Ohio State dropping to number 11. Ole Miss is at 12, which their quarterback, they say he's a good quarterback. Might replace Big Ben Roethlisberger in the draft, but we'll see. BYU is at number 13. Michigan is at 14. Texas A&M did drop to number 15. Coastal Carolina is at 16. Michigan State is at 17. Fresno State is at 18. Oklahoma State, all these state schools, is at number 19 after not being ranked. So they are the first of the 4 unranked teams to be ranked this week. UCLA at number 20. Baylor, another team that wasn't ranked, is now 21. Auburn surprisingly bumped up to number 22, as they were 23 last week. NC State and Wake Forest, 2 other schools not ranked, both ACC schools, being 23 and 24. And then Clemson dropped quite a bit. They are now at number 25. As far as going into next week, a couple of big games to watch out for. Friday night, we have Iowa versus Maryland. That's a Big Ten matchup. That's always going to be fun to watch. And then BYU taking on Utah State in the Mountain West. A couple other games. Cincinnati is taking on Notre Dame. Cincinnati, of course, a team that has been undefeated for like 3 years now, but has never gotten any recognition because they have not been ranked. Cincinnati, this is your moment. Get ranked. You're ranked. Get a great win on your record against Notre Dame, and you'll get a lot of recognition from the College Football Playoff Committee. I can guarantee it. Notre Dame, if you beat Cincinnati, you'll get a lot of recognition from the College Football Playoff Committee. We do also have an SEC matchup. Number 2 Georgia taking on number 8 Arkansas. So two top 10 matchups, or two top 10 teams taking on each other. Alabama, of course, number 1, taking on number 12 Ole Miss. Then we have Baylor taking on Oklahoma State. That wraps up our ranked versus ranked, but a couple more I want to talk about. Clemson and Boston College. Clemson, this is the lowest that they've been ranked since they had that great team with Deshaun Watson, who led them all the way. They're at 2-2. This is the worst record that they've had since Deshaun Watson, because they've been undefeated or one-loss teams. They have 2 in 4 games. Boston College isn't a great team, but that is a rivalry. I believe that's where Dabo Swinney was coaching before he went to Clemson, or that was his first game actually coaching Clemson was against Boston College. So that's always a fun rivalry. And then Auburn is taking on LSU. So Auburn, we'll see if Bo Nix plays. If he gets benched, he better get benched because they looked horrible against Georgia Southern. And if you look horrible against Georgia Southern, there is something wrong with you. And LSU, great school, trying to get ranked again. But with that, our last topic that we're going to move on to is the NBA, the National Basketball Association. The season starts this Sunday. So it'll be the end of the baseball regular season. It'll be the beginning of the basketball regular season. And we're going to start off with a barn burner. The first game of the season is going to be the Brooklyn Nets taking on the Los Angeles Lakers. 2 powerhouse teams that everyone's like, this team is going to win it all, are taking it on, and it looks like it'll be in Los Angeles. So that'll be a fun one to watch. Okay, now I do want to kind of do my predictions on who will be the 8 seed, the 8 teams to make the playoffs in the NBA. And of course, I'm going to write it down in my notebook so that 82 games from now, whenever we have the playoffs, we will know, wow, Jacob is horrible at basketball. And I'm not ranking them like this would be the number 1 seed. This would be the number 3 seed. I'm just going to, hey, these are going to be the seeds, or these are going to be the teams that make it. And then I'll say who I think is gonna represent their conference in the playoffs. Sorry, take some time to think. So first we have the Eastern Conference that'll go over. Atlanta Hawks, Boston Celtics, Chicago Bulls, Cleveland Cavaliers, Detroit Pistons, Indiana Pacers, Miami Heat, Milwaukee Bucks, Brooklyn Nets, New York Knicks, Orlando Magic, Philadelphia 76ers, Washington Wizards, Toronto Raptors, and Charlotte Hornets. Just in case you did not know which teams were in the East. There are definitely a couple teams that are practically locks to get in. You have the Bucks. They won it all last year. Giannis, the Greek Freak. I'm not even going to try his last name. I believe it's like his 2 brothers are on the team too. So that's fun. But they are definitely going to make the playoffs. Another lock is going to be the Nets. They had a great team last year. They've had some good pickups this year. So yeah, they're definitely going to win. They're definitely going to be in the playoffs. Very well could be that number 1 seed. Another lock would be the Boston Celtics. Celtics have always been that team that no matter how bad they look, they always look great. They've always managed to be in playoff contention. Um, and so I definitely think that they will make it. Another team would be the Miami Heat. They, I believe, were like the number 8 seed last year, or one of the lower seeds, and they made a decent run. Um, and they won the Eastern Conference playoffs the year of the COVID Cup or the COVID tournament, and ended up losing to the Lakers in the final. So I do think that the Heat will move on. As far as 4 other teams, um, I do think the Toronto Raptors will make the playoffs. For sure, yeah, they still have Kyle Lowry, which is a very underrated player. Um, he's one of the better point guards in the league. Um, he just doesn't get as much love as he should. 3 more teams. Um, a team that has been surrounded by controversy this year, the 76ers. I think they will make it into the playoffs by the skin of their teeth. Uh, they're more than likely not going to be playing with Ben Simmons, who hasn't been traded yet, but has told the team he doesn't want to play for them anymore. Which, if he gets traded, which he probably will, they're going to get some good capital out of it. So I don't think they're going to be one of the top teams like they have been. I do. I think they'll be one of the last 3 teams in, but they have a chance. There's always a chance. Two more teams. This is where I just get to guess. I'm an idiot. The Atlanta Hawks. They have a superstar known as Trae Young on their team. Dude can ball. I can't believe I forgot about them. They are definitely going to make the playoffs. They will probably be the number 3 seed if I was seeding teams, which I am not. So don't quote me on that. You can quote me on that. I don't care. And then the last team to make it is a team that I really enjoy watching. They never do anything, but the Orlando Magic. Of course, were great back when they had Shaquille O'Neal and Penny Hardaway Jr. Also had Tracy McGrady at a time, who was leading that team to Magic. Pun there. That was unintentional. But yeah, in my opinion, the teams that will represent the East in the playoffs, not in this order, the Bucks, Nets, Celtics, Miami Heat, Toronto Raptors, 76ers, Hawks, and Magic. Why Miami and Toronto got their city names in there, I do not know. Now we're going to move on to the West. Again, I'm going to talk about our locks. Team that you would be stupid not to bet on to win it all, the Los Angeles Lakers. Of course, LeBron is there. LeBron makes the playoffs every year. You can fact check that. I'm pretty sure he has made it every single year. Um, say what you want. I really can't stand the dude. He is a great leader. He's always made his team better around him. But what you can say is Anthony Davis is a fantastic power forward / center. I do like him. They've just had a lot of great moves around that team. As far as other locks to make it in, the Utah Jazz. Of course, have not the MVP, but or was he the MVP? Nikola Jokic. Um, Very good player right there. Donovan Mitchell, another good player for that team. And they were very highly ranked. I want to say like 3. Actually, it might have even been the number 1 seed this last year. I really don't remember. I'm sorry, guys. That's another really good team that is always that has been really good, especially later. The team that represented the Western Conference in the finals, the Phoenix Sun, or the Phoenix Suns. There's an S in there. Um, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, very good team. Devin Booker, I'm a Kentucky fan. He went to Kentucky. What's up? I've been a fan of or not a fan of, but I've enjoyed the Phoenix Suns ever since they had a player by the name of Steve Nash on the team. So I kind of followed them since then. They've always been one of those kind of surprise teams, and especially like this last season, um, they swept the Lakers. I believe, or they might have lost one or two games, um, but steamrolled the Western Conference until they got to the championship, which they took on the Bucks. Won two games pretty handily, and then just couldn't finish the job, and the Bucks took it over. Another team that I think is going to be a lock is the Clippers. The other team out in Los Angeles, you still have Kawhi Leonard. You still have playoff Paul George. Another really tough team to take on. Another team that I think is going to make the playoffs. My favorite team, the Mavericks in Dallas. We have Luka Doncic, Kristaps Porzingis, Tim Hardaway Jr., or just Jalen Brunson, just naming off random players that are on the team. Mavericks have a pretty easy division, and one of the best superstars in basketball right now. Hopefully he'll get a team around him so that they can do something in the playoffs, like they haven't been able to do lately. But yeah, I am a Mavericks fan. I think they'll make the playoffs. I think they're going to win it all because every year you think your team's going to win it all. Three more teams to move on. I want to make sure I look at all the teams and properly rank them. One team, a team that didn't make it last year, which is a huge surprise because they have been dominant for most of the past 5 years. The Golden State Warriors team has really been affected by injuries. Of course, they have the best record in basketball. I believe they went 72-10 a couple of years ago. The year they lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers, I believe that was when they blew the 3-1 lead. Jokes, memes, whatever you want to call them. Got Kevin Durant and really haven't been the same since they lost Kevin Durant. They beginning of the season, no. But yeah, Klay Thompson was injured. Steph Curry was injured. I was trying to say Klay Thompson, of course, coming off of that injury when he tore his ACL and then shot a free throw. That was 2 years ago, not last year. But they're kind of going back to their original three with Steph, Klay, and then Draymond Green, which is where they had their best success the last couple of years. Definitely not as good as they were when they won it all, or they had the 10-loss team. But still, Steph is lethal from anywhere. Klay is lethal from just about anywhere. Draymond Green is lethal when he's sending dick pics. That was a joke. All right, two more teams to make it on. Another really underrated team that I think will make it. I don't remember where they ended up last year. I want to say they were number 6 seed last year. The Portland Trailblazers. Damien Lillard. I have to write it down, and I can't talk and write at the same time. Damian Lillard, another really great player who hasn't had anyone around him. Let's see, Jim McCollum's still with the team. I think Jim McCollum's still with the team, but that's neither here nor there. It's Dame time. There's a reason that's a saying. I do think, unfortunately, this is just one of those teams that they always um, have issues because they only have one great player and one really good player. They never have a high seeding, so I do think this would be the same issue as what has been, where they're going to be a lower seed in the playoffs, but they're always dangerous. Not dangerous enough to actually do anything, but they're always dangerous. And then as far as the last team to make it into the Western Conference Finals, I'm going to go with the San Antonio Spurs. Spurs, since they lost Tim Duncan and Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili, that lethal 7-man roster, or at least lethal 3-man roster, they've never been the same. Of course, they had LaMarcus Aldridge to replace Tim Duncan. Didn't have the success that they had. But Greg Popovich is one of the best coaches in the NBA. I forgot to do one thing, but that's okay. He is a great coach. He always finds a way. They've been close. This past year, I think they were the number 7 seed. If not, they were right. They were almost in the playoffs. Um, the season was cut short. I want to say they were one of the teams that went to the tournament or the invitational kind of thing that they held in Orlando. Just didn't make it all the way. The Spurs, I think we are about to see a Spurs comeback. I think this is the year that they come back, that they start their comeback and get back to being dominant like they used to be. As far as who is going to be in the finals taking on each other, my personal predictions, I am going to go with representing the East, returning from last year, the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis, of course, is a monster. Um, and then they do have a good team around him. Like they have Mason Plumlee. I think it's one of the Plumlee boys. Is on the team. Eric Bledsoe, Chris Middleton, small forward. We do not talk about enough. When I say that, I'm pretty sure Eric Bledsoe's not on the team anymore. He used to be. I don't know if he's still on there or not. I'm not a huge basketball fan, guys. I'm sorry. But I do think that the Bucks will win the East. Beating the Nets, like everyone thinks the Nets will win it all. I think the Bucks will be able to repeat and win it again. And they will be taking on, in the West, I'm going to go with, I hate to do it, but I don't think any of those teams in the West are going to beat the Lakers. I'm going to make an amendment real quick, though, because I just thought of something. I don't think the Spurs are going to make the playoffs. The Denver Nuggets are going to take their place. I forgot about them, which is weird because I live like 5.5 hours away from Denver, right? Yeah, I'm pretty close. You'd think, hey, I'd remember Denver. I've been to the Pepsi Center plenty of times. Never inside, but I've been outside. I should forget about them. I completely forgot about them. The West, there's some really good teams on there. I just don't think any team is going to be able to do what the Bucks do and beat the Lakers. And then I will say it's hard to repeat, and I do not think that the Bucks will be able to repeat. I do think that the Lakers will win it all. Unfortunately, that's just because I am not a LeBron fan. But that is going to go ahead and wrap up the show. Pretty busy show, but again, when you're ending one season and beginning another, we're going to talk about it. Please, if you have any thoughts, concerns, anything you want me to talk about next time, please leave it in the comments. If you like this video, please actually click the like button. It helps out a lot for me. Subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of great stuff going out. Of course, this is weekly. We do also have Movie Battlegrounds, our movie debate channel. I believe Aaron, he's taking a little bit of a break just because a lot of stuff has gotten in the way. But he should be getting those out once a week. There are a lot of great matches coming up too. I know I have a match against Jordan Owens. That was hell. Very fun match though. Couple other round one stuff to get everyone in their tournaments, and we're going to start both tournaments: the winners tournament and the losers tournament, or as he likes to call the 1-0 and the 0-1s. Colton Roberts does the Supernova show, which is everything geek related. I know he has Robert Kastner on a lot. They talk about what's going on, which I'm sure he's talked about What If. I need to watch What If. I haven't done it yet. I'm actually really behind on all that stuff, both with like What If, Loki. I never finished Loki. Star Wars Visions I need to watch. I need to finish The Bad Batch because I didn't finish that either. I'm behind on a lot of stuff. So Papa needs to watch some stuff, but Papa's got a lot of stuff he has to do. Be on the lookout. Well, yes, After Dark is done. I know Arn is wanting to bring in a weekly show just about movie news, but he's kind of waiting to relax from all the stress. And then we also have our sister channel, TMG Trivia, where I run singles and teams. Any movie you can name, I will probably, if I have not asked a question about it, I will ask a question eventually. As far as teams go, we've been doing a road to the finals. We have our three-way set up. I'm giving the teams a little bit of a break before I actually set that. And then I do also have the big 32-man tournament in TMG singles. That is going to be hell on my mental life, but I'm sure everyone will enjoy that. Actually, I believe tomorrow night is when I will do the bracket drawing, as I get two wheels to see who is going to make it on the tournament. So watch that, because it will be fun if my computer can handle it. I hope you can handle it. And then also Kevin Poss, my best friend, who gave me this awesome bag for his wedding. It says Jew on it, which is my initials, just so you're aware. He runs TM Geek, which is all of our geek stuff. Pretty much anything Colton talks about on the Supernova show, he'll ask questions about those movies. He is also doing a 16-man tournament because he has more sense than I do. Doing a 16-person tournament to figure out who's going to face Joe Fairley for that belt. We have a lot of stuff going on. Definitely, we'd love the support with just that like and subscribe. It does mean a lot to us. But y'all have a good one. And watch some sports this weekend. There's a lot of great stuff going on.